I saw Ghostbusters Afterlife, and all I can say is I am done with these kinds of movies. I am done with these nostalgia remakes. I'm done with these 30-year-old sequels that should have been made 25 years earlier. I'm done with movies starring little kids that are super smart and are surrounded by idiot adults. I'm done with paying homage to the past while ushering in a new generation. Like, I am just sick of all of it. I have made 3 videos where I discuss my fears about Ghostbusters Afterlife, and unfortunately, every single one of my fears was realized in this film and then some. Ghostbusters Afterlife is a movie about a family who are the estranged offspring of Egon Spangler, one of the original Ghostbusters, played by the late Harold Ramis. Egon's family consists of his daughter, played by Carrie Coon, her character has no name, and his grandchildren Phoebe, played by McKenna Grace, and Trevor, played by Finn Wolfhard. They have fallen on hard financial times, and when Egon dies unexpectedly, they inherit his old farmhouse in the middle of rural America. As the family tries to fit into their new surroundings, Phoebe ends up discovering that her grandfather was a Ghostbuster, and she finds out that he really left them so that he could prevent a great evil spiritual force from breaking through the spirit dimension and destroying the world. Using the equipment that Egon left behind, Phoebe, Trevor, and their friend Podcast, played by Logan Kim, I kid you not, the kid goes by the name Podcast because he walks around with a microphone and recording equipment all day long, narrating everything they do. Anyway, they take it upon themselves to finish Egon's work and rid the world of the new supernatural threat. Paul Rudd is also in this movie for no reason whatsoever. I thought this movie was excruciatingly boring. Nothing exciting or fun happens in this movie that's not shown in the trailer. Most of the movie tries to be a mystery, where our characters are slowly coming to realize that their grandfather was a Ghostbuster, and they slowly uncover the nature of the threat they are facing. But what makes it so boring is that we, the audience, know exactly who their grandfather is, and we know exactly what the threat is. So why do we have to sit around for an hour and a half and watch our characters learn what we already know? That makes for an extremely boring experience. You know that clip in the trailer where they show the little marshmallow babies, roasting each other while they're at the Walmart? Like, that's the most fun and exciting thing that happens in the entire movie. When I saw the original trailer, I thought, oh, I hope there's some more exciting stuff in this movie that they don't show in the trailer. But no, there are no surprises here. I cannot describe how sick I am of the tired trope of super smart 12-year-old kids who treat adults like idiots. It is just so obnoxious for me. Phoebe is just so smart, and she knows everything. She knows geology, she knows metallurgy, she knows chemistry, she knows physics, she knows history, blah blah blah. None of the kids in this movie act like real kids. They see a ghost, and do they run away scared? Do they start crying? Do they run to their parents and ask for help? No, they don't. They see a ghost, and they just say, "Whoa, let's get it." No, effing no. That is not how kids would react to seeing a ghost. In this movie, the ghosts are actually trying to kill them. Like, one ghost eats metal and then spits out metal projectiles like bullets from its mouth. And he's shooting bullets at these kids, and the kids duck for cover for a few seconds, and then they get up and resume chasing after this ghost. These kids almost had their flesh ripped from their bones by a metal-munching ghost, and I'm supposed to believe the kids are going to be cracking jokes and yelling, "Go, go, go!" and hanging off the sides of vehicles that are speeding at 60 miles an hour? I never saw the original Ghostbusters do crazy stuff like that, and they were adults. I seem to remember the Ghostbusters seeing their first ghost and being frozen in fear and terror, and then running away screaming like little girls out of the library. I remember the Ghostbusters trying to stop Gozer, who was threatening the world with destruction. But first, they had to struggle to walk their way up 20 flights of stairs. If the kids in this movie were faced with that same challenge from Ghostbusters 1, the kids would have probably invented some sort of a laser-powered grappling hook device and then shoot themselves up to the top of the tower, and then when they land, they'd say, "Whoa, that was so cool!" I mean, these kids are catching ghosts while driving and sitting in gunner's seats and then using remote control ghost traps on wheels and successfully capturing the ghosts on the first try. As I mentioned before, one of the kids is named Podcast because he does a podcast. He is an 11 or 12-year-old kid who walks around with $1,500 sound recording equipment all day long to do narrations. Say, he's like looking at Phoebe getting ready to shoot the laser, and he says something like, "She stands alone, poised, ready for anything. Will she be victorious, or will she meet her doom? Nobody knows." And it's supposed to be funny, but it is just frustrating. Poor Paul Rudd. You can tell he's probably the biggest Ghostbusters fan in the world, and I bet he was so excited to be in a Ghostbusters movie. And he is just trying so hard to bring some sort of levity to Ghostbusters Afterlife, but he has nothing to work with other than to ooh and ah at how smart Phoebe is, and then to fawn over the mom in this movie. And they repeatedly say silly things like, "Science is awesome." Like, do you know what science is? Science is just a bunch of methods used to establish causal relationships by ruling out alternative hypotheses. They keep saying things to try and inspire young viewers to study STEM by saying, "Yeah, science is punk rock." Like, what kind of science are you talking about? Just sticking jumper cables in a mini nuclear reactor to see if it'll blow up isn't science. The mom is easily the worst character in this movie. The only purpose of her character is to say, "I hate my dad for leaving us." She has to remind us over and over again that her dad abandoned her, and he was a piece of garbage, and she never knew him, and she doesn't love him because he never loved her, and his heart is deader than that ghost over there, and I'm sad he's dead so that I could never tell him how much I hate him, and every single time she's on screen, it just devolves into that garbage. This movie also looks really cheap. I mean, you could tell this movie is very low budget. It's obvious that this movie takes place in a rural setting, not because it does anything to benefit the story, but just because they couldn't afford to set the movie anywhere else. How does this movie stack up to the other Ghostbusters films? Well, it's clearly worse than Ghostbusters 1 and 2. Is it as bad as Ghostbusters 2016? I don't know. I dislike them both for very different reasons. I dislike Ghostbusters 2016 because it was just way too silly and unfunny, but Ghostbusters Afterlife is just too boring and unfunny, so I don't know. I don't want to watch either of them ever again. Anyway, those are my thoughts. If you think I'm wrong, let me know why in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.